Good evening, Village family. How is everybody doing? I hope you guys are doing well. I don't know where it is where you are, but here in Hampton Roads, it's a wet one. It is super, super rainy, thunderstormy, and all things wet outside. But nonetheless, it's a wonderful day. We are kicking off week 15. And at this point, no matter where you are in this country, all the children are out of school. I know here in Virginia, the children get out later. I have family and friends who are in other parts of the country, and some of them started getting out as early as May. But we catch the short end, and we're at the tail end of everybody getting out, and so our youth are out here as well. And so it's summertime, or at least summer break. And I hope that everybody has already made their plans of their book lists for the summer, what you guys are going to be reading, what type of literacy activities you are going to be having with your children this summer. And I hope you are including this virtual village as part of it. What better place to come than to get this culturally affirming literature in a family atmosphere, a family environment, because we're keeping this thing going. We are appreciative of all our villagers who have been here from day one, and those who have come along the way and made this a wonderful, wonderful experience. Again, you guys, this is 15 weeks. 15 weeks. So just think about that. Let that marinate how long that has been. And while you letting that marinate, let this marinate too, okay?
Look, mommy, community in action. But oh my, let us sound that. Look, daddy, there's a book for me too. But oh my, let us sound that. Creative, affirming, and culture for me too. Look, granny, and let us sound that. Look, granny, and let us sound that. Look, granny, and let us sound that. Learning, exploring my history, you see. Look, mommy, and let us sound that. We confident, we practice, and develop fluency. Look, daddy, and let us sound that. Families, they bond and they representing me. Look, granny, and let us sound that. Look, I'm here, let us sound that. Nice, I see, let us sound that.
So reliable, culturally relevant. Sit back and listen to the wisdom while you represent. So reliable, culturally relevant. Readers to leaders, they hold it down where they have to sit. So reliable, culturally relevant. Sit back and listen to the wisdom while you represent. So reliable, culturally relevant. Readers to leaders, they hold it down, yeah, they have to sit.
Look, mommy, community in action. Well, oh my, let us sound that. Look, daddy, there's a book for me too. Well, oh my, let us sound that. Creative, affirming, culture for me too. Look, granny, let us sound that.
Forever loving the sound of that. Yes, yes. All right. Well, let's see who is here with us right now. We have our lovely first commenter, our precious Shania. She says, good evening. Always looking for this comment from you, sweetheart. So glad to see you here. Hope you had a wonderful weekend and that you've had a great day. And then we have Miss Portia, our theme song creator. She and her children. So good to see you, sis. So glad that you are here, and everybody else who is tuned in right now. I want to wish a happy belated Father's Day to all the dads out there. Hope you all had a wonderful weekend. All the brothers who are making a difference in their homes and in our communities, that male presence, that father presence, that uncle, mentor, brother, all of those things, protectors, we need those. We need that in our community. So hope you all had a wonderful time and that y'all got some great Father's Day love, not just some ties and socks and things like that, and that you got some great time in with your family as well, because we know that's what it's all about. 2020 has been full of surprises, right? But when we have people who love us, when we are showing love, receiving love, and just convening together, all of this family time, whether it's blood family or family we've created, that's a wonderful thing. That is a wonderful thing. So again, much love to the fathers over who had their day over the weekend. So tonight, you guys, we have some new readers coming on the scene. All right. We have some people who have not been here with us before. So you guys get to meet some new faces who are coming to read some exciting stories, because y'all know that's what we do around here. It is all about this literacy, culture, community, and love. And speaking of that, I want to remind everybody, if you purchase some of the merchandise, it took a little longer to process things than we expected, but they should be shipping out towards the end of the week. So good good news, good news. We appreciate the patience that you all have had. We really do. But those shirts will be coming, and then everybody can rep, okay? We can rep the virtual village. We can rep the literacy gang. What a wonderful thing that is. I cannot wait till you guys get your shirts, and that you send us the pictures of you guys repping what we all have created. So with that said, we're going to come into our first reader tonight, who is a sister who loves to read, who is all about education and literacy. And she is also a relative of one of our favorites here, someone who has sent so many phenomenal readers this way. So we're going to bring on right now Miss J.
Hi.
Hi,
Hi.
sis. How are you doing?
I am doing so well tonight. I'm excited to start reading.
Wonderful. Well, we are so glad to have you here, and I really appreciate your energy. And again, you came by way of Chris Bracy. We call him the unicorn because he actually came up here and read, and we know that he does not do social media like that. So that was really great. But tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, as I said, I've been in human services for 30 years. That means I love to help people. That's what I'm about doing. I also love to read. I was saying I read to my son's class, and he's 38 years old. I'm reading to my grandson's class. I've gone to Chris's school to read to his classes, and I love it. Also, I'm ordained minister. My husband's a pastor, so we love to serve. So this is about service to our community.
Well, we definitely appreciate that. That is all that the virtual village community is all about. So, what book are you going to be reading for us this evening?
I am going to be reading When I Was Little, kind of taking on that theme that you were talking about for Father's Day. To all the daddies, the grandpas, the uncles. But yeah.
How timely. That is wonderful. Well, I can't, with all this enthusiasm you have, I am definitely looking forward to having you read this story. So that's what the people came for. So I am going to step away and let you do your thing, okay?
All righty. Here we go. When I Was Little, this is by Tayomi Igus, and it's illustrated by Higgins Bond. When I Was Little. It was nice where Grandpa Will lived. It was so quiet, the air smelled so fresh, and the grass was so green. Not like where Noah lived in the big city. Grandpa Will had a house in the country, and going fishing every Sunday, just him and Grandpa, was Noel's favorite thing to do. As they walked towards the river's edge, Grandpa Will, he looked around. He let out a sigh and he said, "Things sure have changed around here." Noah looked around too, but things sure looked the same to him. Nothing seemed any different from last summer. "What do you mean, Grandpa?" "Well, when I was little," Grandpa Will explained, "there were no houses along the river, and there were no fancy docks or condos like those over there. Fact is, there was no such thing as condos. When I was little, there was just this old pier, the river, and plenty of fish." Noah walked to the end of the dock and tried to imagine what Grandpa was saying. The river with just trees and bushes and no houses? How did the riverbanks look back then? Were there dinosaurs around here when you were little? He asked. Grandpa Will laughed. "No, son, there were no dinosaurs. The dinosaurs were long gone, but things were different back then." "Why, when I was little, there was a big old tree over there, you see. Well, that old tree had long, thick branches that hung out over the water. My grandpa used to tie a rope onto one of those branches, and we kids, we would use it for a swing. We used to swing out over the water and then jump off. Splash! Right into the river. Oh, that sounds fun, Grandpa." Noah wished that the tree was still there so he could try it. Of course, he'd have to learn to swim first. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, Grandpa said, especially on a hot day like today. Grandpa Will, he started to fix a hook to the end of Noel's fishing line. Did you go swimming every day when you were little, Grandpa? Sure did, son. How else could we keep cool in the summer? You see, when I was little, we didn't have air conditioning or even refrigerators. No refrigerators? Noel found this hard to believe. How did you keep ice cream frozen or milk and soda cold? Well, when I was little, Mama used to send us kids down to the store with a quarter to buy a big block of ice. The iceman would put it in our wagon and we'd drag it home. Mama would put the ice in the ice box to keep our food cold. But the best part was sucking on the little chips of ice that Mama would let us keep. Boy, Grandpa, that sounds like fun too. Noel tried to imagine going to the store to buy ice. There was a lot of traffic where he lived, so his mother wouldn't even let him go to the store to buy anything. Not till he was bigger, anyway. Sounds like fun, huh? Well, maybe so, but it was still another chore to us. Boy, it seemed like we had a million chores to do when I was little. Hauling knives, tending the gardens, washing clothes. Oh, I know what you did, Grandpa. I've seen it on TV. You had to wash your clothes in the river, right? Like the pioneers. Kinda like that, Grandpa Will smiled. Except we had to help Mama scrub the clothes on the washboard in a big tub. Mama would rub the clothes up and down till they were clean. Then we'd hang them out on the line to dry in the sun. As his grandma talked, Noel tried to figure out how people washed their clothes by hand on a board. He and his mother always did their laundry at the corner laundromat. All they had to do was put their clothes in the washing machine, and the machine did all the work. Grandpa, what else was different when you were little? Noel asked. Grandpa Will pulled the worm out of his can and started to bait Noel's fishing line. Noel watched him carefully. One day, he was going to learn how to do that. Well, Grandpa said, when I was little, do you know that we didn't even have a telephone? What? Noel couldn't imagine that without a phone, how could he call his mom from Grandpa's house or talk to Grandpa Will when he went home? How could he talk to his best friend Jojo, who lived 4 whole blocks away? Grandpa Will saw the confused look on Noel's face and laughed again. No, what I mean, son, is that the telephone were invented, but only rich people could afford to buy them. My family didn't have one. I remember Miss Johnson down the street had a phone and she let us use it in an emergency. Telephones looked a lot different back then, too. When I was little, we didn't have all these fancy colors and push buttons. Most of the phones were black and they had what you call rotary dials. That's right, rotary dials, or no dials at all. Then how did you talk to people, Grandpa? Why, we'd write letters or send telegrams to people who were far away. And if our friends weren't far away, well, then we'd just go and visit them. People did a lot more of that in those days, visiting folks. I mean, in the evening after work and school, there wasn't much else to do. We didn't have television, so it seemed like we had a lot more time on our hands. You didn't have TV either, Grandpa? No cartoon? Boy, that must have been awful. No, Noel, it wasn't awful. You can't miss what you never had. The grown-ups would sit on the porch after dinner and talk, while we kids would run around trying to catch lightning bugs. Sometimes we'd all gather in the living room and listen to the radio. Radio was our TV. When I was little, we'd listen to the comedy shows and just laugh and have a good time. Or sometimes Uncle Hoot would pull out his Fats Waller record and play music on the phonograph. A phonograph is a record player, like a CD player. But when I was little, you had to wind it up to make it go. Noel loved to dance, so he thought life might not be so bad without a TV. As long as he had his music, he could almost see it. Grandpa dancing and Uncle Hoot being a DJ. Hmm, that's Waller. Noel wondered if he was a rapper. He asked his grandpa. Grandpa Will let out a big belly laugh and hugged Noel. Was Fats Waller a rapper? Well, in a way, I guess he was. The two fishermen lowered their lines into the calm, clear water. They breathed in the fresh, green smell of the river, and they waited for the fish to bait. Suddenly, the stillness was broken by the sound of a jet plane. Noah looked up. He had flown on a plane just like that one when he had to come visit his grandpa. I bet you didn't have airplanes either when you were little, right, Grandpa? Grandpa Will looked up too. Well, we did, but Noel interrupted. When you were little, Grandpa smiled. Yep, when I was little, the planes were smaller and had propellers in the front to help them go. And they made a lot of noise. But you're right, son. There were not jet planes and no rockets or space shuttles either. Yes, sir. You have a lot of things now that we didn't have when I was little. No jets, no cars, no washing machines or dryers, no television or VCRs or video games, no cassette tapes, CDs, or stereos. When I was little, we didn't even have indoor toilets. We had to go outside to the outhouse to go to the bathroom. Boy, did I hate going to the bathroom in the middle of the night, in the dark and the cold, through the snow or rain. That old outhouse was the scariest place at night. Grandpa Will laughed at the memory. Life really wasn't different when he was little. Noah watched the river current pull and tug on his fishing line and thought about everything his grandpa told him. He thought about how much fun it would have been to go swinging into the river. He wondered if the ice they put into Grandpa's ice box tasted any different from the ice cubes he got from the freezer. And he thought it really would be neat to travel around in horse drawn wagons. But what would be really nice would be with, but what would life really be like without refrigerators and televisions, without spaceships and rockets, VCRs and video games, without indoor toilets? Noah couldn't imagine having to go to the bathroom alone in the cold and the dark. Finally, he said, Grandpa, it sounds like you had a lot of fun, but I think I'm glad I wasn't little when you were little. Suddenly, Noel's fishing line pulled tight. Grandpa Will helped Noel quickly reel in his line. A big old crappie was dangling at the other end of it. Look, Grandpa, Noel said excitedly. Look, I caught one. I caught one. Noel struggled to hold on to the wiggling fish that looked almost as big as he was. Grandpa Will smiled, remembering his own first catch. Things sure are different now, he said, hugging his grandson. But it's good to see that the important things are still the same. The end. That's right. Things change. But guess what? What was good for Grandpa was good then, and what's good for Will is great for him right now. Hold on to the memories with your grandpas, your uncles, your daddies, your brothers, all of the men in your life, because you won't get them back. I hope you loved it.
That was excellent. I definitely enjoyed that story. And like you said, it was definitely a timely read. And you did a wonderful job reading it. Got a little nostalgic there. Yeah, that was really, really wonderful. Thinking about, like you said, if you have grandparents in your life, please cherish that. Please cherish that, to sit around and be able to talk about those good old days with them, and for them to impart that wisdom and love onto us is a wonderful thing. So I definitely enjoyed that. What made you pick that selection?
Well, it made me think of my dad and the relationship I had with him, the relationship my son had with him, and it made me think of my grandson and the relationship he has with my husband.
That's beautiful. That is definitely beautiful. Well, we definitely appreciate you taking the time
My
to come out to
pleasure.
read that to us. We're gonna go over here and grab a few of these comments. So you got from Shania. She's one of our readers, and she is 10 years young, and she is
Ah,
such a phenomenal reader. Oh my gosh! And she's an actress and pageantry. She does it all. I can't even go on all the lists. She's ready to take over the world at a young age. And then we have Portia, who says Jay Smile is amazing. Thank you for sharing, Queen. And Portia says, what perfect camera presence. I love how she engages the at-home audience with eye contact and facial expressions. Yes, we definitely enjoyed that. And then Shania again says she enjoyed the book.
good, good, good. I'm glad.
Yes, we are so glad. So again, we appreciated it. And was there anything else that you wanted to share with the virtual village family?
No, that's it. But just like you said, keep learning. It's summer, I know, kids, but what better time to learn than the summer? I spent all my summers reading. I just love to read. So grab a good book, keep on reading, and join you.
Great advice, great advice. Well, listen now, Jay, before you go, I have to induct you into our game. So we are a literacy gang, and we convene around a love of literacy,
Yes.
culture, and community, and just love for one another. So now that you have come up here and read, you are officially part of our literacy gang. And you
Yay!
cannot leave this gang. You are going to get this love from us. So anytime you want to come back up here and read, join us in the comment section or any of that, you are welcome, because you are officially inducted. Okay.
Thank you. Bye
You
bye.
are very welcome. So
Love
thank
it.
you again. And thank you to Chris for inviting you here. And we look forward to having you back. Okay.
I do look forward to it too. Bye
All
bye.
right.
Love it.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Well, that was wonderful. We really, really enjoyed that from Jay. She did an excellent job. I think Portia summed it up all very well. Her presence, the story that she chose, it was extremely engaging. And then her energy around reading, it just really, really shows. It shows through. We can tell that she is enthusiastic about literacy, and that's what we love here. Portia says, it's great to see you on this platform. And she says, welcome, welcome. Yes, yes. So thank you so much for the love in the comment section, family. And without any further ado, we are going to move on to our next reader. So we have another youth up here who is actually referred to us by one of our influencers. I know you guys know and love and miss our influencers. They are on their hiatus right now, but they will be back. They are taking that 2-week break, but they're still doing great things. For the organization, but they are also taking some time. We had 3 graduates, so them having some time to decompress and let all of those wonderful things soak in, that great reality. And then all 6 of them just getting some time to enjoy the summer, because it was a lot. It was a lot that our young people had to go through with all of these changes with school. So we're going to bring on a high school student who was referred by our influencer, Ayana. So everybody welcome Darnell.
Hello.
Hi, Darnell. How are you doing?
I am doing good. How are you?
Good, good. I'm doing well. Glad to have you up here. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How old are you?
I am 17.
17, and you attend what school?
I attend Northview High School.
Norfolk Public Schools in the building. Okay, all right. So you are a rising senior.
Yes.
Are you excited about that?
Yeah. Hopefully it'll go well.
Yeah, yeah. So tell us a little bit about how things were for you with the whole school shutdowns in regard to COVID-19. How was that for you?
It was really disappointing because now the great teacher interaction that we normally had at school was reduced, and I couldn't really attend any extracurriculars. I couldn't really meet with any of the teachers that I normally could. But I felt considering the situation, they did as well as they could, and at least got some education out of it.
Mm-hmm. But you guys, I seem to be very resilient. We've never experienced anything like this before. This was the first for all of you in school right now, but I see you guys have seemed to be very resilient and move forward, and you got that behind you. So it's summertime now, and are you excited about summer break?
It's I don't have to make do with what I have. A lot of things were canceled for me, but I guess now I have to plan around that.
Yeah, yeah, we're all having to do that, and we hate that our youth are having to do that. But at the same time, you have a full life ahead of you. So just think about all those wonderful things that are going to come into your life that you don't even know yet, like how great things are going to be. But we are glad to have you here this evening. So again, you were referred by Ayana, right?
Yes.
Yes, well, we love ourselves some Ayana. She's one of our Virtual Village 2020 influencers. So let's see here, Darnell. What are you going to be reading for us this
I'm
evening?
going to be reading Barack Obama, An American Story, basically just talking about the president.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So I am going to step away because everybody wants to hear these stories. So Darnell's going to read for us, and I'm going to get off this screen. So you do your thing, Darnell. Okay.
Okay. So apologies if I end up stuttering at all. So this is Barack Obama, American Story, as I just said. I'm going to read the introduction. Introduction, the fierce urgency of now. America appeared to be coming apart at the seams. Thousands of miles away, an unpopular war was raging with no end in sight. Economic challenges at home made it difficult for families to make ends meet. The nation's trust in institutions like the church and government had taken a huge hit. Politicians faced a country that appeared on the verge of a second civil war. Young people rising up in unprecedented numbers as part of a cultural and political rebellion that took its name from a radical idea of love. A man climbed some steps to a podium to proclaim an unpopular truth. His skin color subjected him to different treatment in the land founded on freedom and equality. His faith drove him to speak out, no matter the cost. We are now faced with the fact, my friends, that tomorrow is today. We are confronted with the fierce urgency of now. In this unfolding conundrum of life and history, there is such a thing as being too late. Procrastination is still the thief of time. Life often leaves us standing bare, naked, and dejected with a lost opportunity. The tide in the affairs of men does not remain at flood, it ebbs. We may cry out desperately for time to pause in her passage, but time is adamant to every plea and rushes on. Over the bleached bones and jumbled residues of numerous civilizations are written the pathetic words, too late. There's an invisible book of life that faithfully records our vigilance or our neglect. That man was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., speaking from the pulpit at the historic Riverside Church in New York City. The year was 1967. The war was the conflict in Vietnam. America was in the middle of a revolution in civil rights, one that would eventually circle the globe. President Lyndon B. Johnson, responding to the moral leadership of Dr. King and others, had worked to overcome Southern resistance, including many religious leaders, and convinced Congress to pass the Civil Rights Act of 1964, outlawing most forms of racial segregation. In 1965, Johnson worked with senators and civil rights leaders to achieve passage of the Voting Rights Act, which outlawed discrimination in voting and allowed millions of Southern blacks to vote for the first time. That same year, after the murder of a prominent civil rights worker, President Johnson went on television to announce the arrest of 4 Ku Klux Klansmen implicated in her death. He denounced the Klan as a hooded society of bigots, urging this nation to return to a decent society before it's too late. Johnson drew on the core themes of Christian redemption to push for civil rights, ultimately mobilizing support from churches north and south. In 1967, Johnson appointed civil rights attorney Thurgood Marshall to the Supreme Court, making Marshall the first African American to serve on the court. 5,000 miles away from the White House, a 6-year-old boy was living with his mother in Honolulu, Hawaii. He'd been born on this island of mystery and beauty, the child of a white woman from Kansas and a black sheepherder from Kenya. His father had left him and his mother when the boy was 2 years old, and mother and son had subsisted on the charity of family and friends, as well as assistance from the U.S. government. In 1967, the young mother had recently returned to school for the first time since her divorce. During the next year, the mother will remarry and give birth to another child, and a family of 3 will move to a country halfway around the world. No life story is universal, but the journey of this young boy, born in the 49th state, resonates with the life experiences of many millions of other young women and men. A boy who works to find his place in a family where he is visibly different from his mother, father, and siblings. A young person living in a distant land, discovering new friends, a new language, and heartbreaking lessons about his identity. A fatherless son struggling to gain a sense of identity and an understanding of how vital parenting is to families and understanding of how vital parenting is to families and communities we live in. A young black man is struggling for acceptance at institutions of privilege where he finds himself growing so angry and disillusioned at the world around him that he turns to alcohol and drugs. A churching adult who turns to Jesus for deeper meaning, finding an example that leads him to dedicate his life to feeding the hungry and healing the sick, always prioritizing his Savior, called the least of these over the powerful. Barack Obama has traveled that journey from Hawaii to the cusp of the highest political office in the United States of America. Obama's story is filled with historic firsts, from the schools he attended to the jobs he has taken to the legislation he has championed. His story is also one of reconciliation. As a son growing up without a father, as African American in a country that still struggles with racism, as an elected official who struggles to work beyond the stifling boundaries of partisan politics. For this man who loves building bridges and playing basketball, there's no greater calling than that of serving the common good, working to change hearts and change structures. 40 years after Martin Luther King climbed those steps at the Riverside Church, Barack Obama found himself challenged by the fierce urgency of now. After a career in public services, Obama faced a country mired in the war of Iraq, facing mounting economic woes and experiencing what many saw as a void in leadership. He found himself haunted by King's warning that we dare not wait until it is too late, procrastinating and hoping others might answer the call. If he were to pursue the Democratic nomination for president, Obama knew he was certain to face complaints about his age, his race, his experience, and even his church. But he could not turn away from the fierce urgency of now that pounded in his soul. On February 10, 2007, a cheering crowd of thousands braved frigid temperatures to gather outside the old state capitol in Springfield, Illinois. Built in 1837, this Capitol building is where Abraham Lincoln once declared, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." After climbing the steps of this great building that gave America Abraham Lincoln, Barack Obama looked out at the crowd who come to hear him announce his long-shot bid for the presidency and spoke these words. "I am not running for this office to fulfill any long-held plans or because I believe it is somehow owed to me. I never expected to be here. I always knew the journey would be improbable. I've never been on one that wasn't. I am running because of what Dr. King called the fierce urgency of now. I am running because I do believe there is such a thing as being too late, and that hour is almost here." The path Obama has followed in journeying from that announcement in Springfield through his accepting the Democratic nomination for president has been quite unlike that of any previous presidential candidate. Americans are used to voting for presidential candidates with backgrounds as lawyers, military officers, businessmen, career politicians, and even farmers. This is the first time we've been asked to vote for someone who identifies himself primarily as a community organizer. Of course, Barack Obama also has experience as a lawyer, a law professor, and a senator. But throughout the campaign, he has frequently referred to the years he spent as a community organizer as the best education I ever had. No campaign in recent history has relied more on the importance of grassroots organizing. If he's elected president, Obama believes he will have to find a balance between working inside the Beltway and encouraging Americans to organize and mobilize. He has built his campaign on the belief that his ability to reform healthcare, tackle global warming, and restore job security and decent wages will depend, in large measure, on whether he can use his bully pulpit to mobilize public opinion and encourage American Americans to battle powerful powerful corporate interests and members of Congress who resist change. This grassroots campaign has redefined what online politics means, changing the landscape of how individuals can connect, contribute, and work to funnel their energy into a campaign. Obama's journey to the Democratic nomination has also included an unprecedented level of involvement among young people. Conventional wisdom has a name for candidates who rely on the youth vote: loser, said George Mason University professor Michael McDonald, an expert on voter turnout, in a recent article in Time magazine, no longer really recent. Clearly, this was different. Obama's campaign has ignored this conventional wisdom, turning out voters 25 years of age and younger in record numbers. The Washington Post reported in spring 2008 that while overall Democratic turnout jumped 90% from 2004, the number of young Democrats participating soared 135%, according to surveys of voters entering the caucuses. Young voters preferred Obama over the next closest competitor by more than 4-1. Political scientist Peter Dreyer has observed the youngest generation of American voters has chosen a candidate. Dreyer notes that Obama's victory in becoming the Democratic nominee may well be the first in which the youth vote played a decisive role. In a recent post on the online site Huffington Post, Dreyer describes some of the details of these efforts. The Obama campaign has put together a sophisticated effort to target young voters on and off college campuses, including hiring student government leaders, activists from recent campus protest movements, and political neophytes. During the summer of 2008, the campaign recruited thousands of college students for a 6-week crash course in politics and community organizing in key swing states. Many of them have stayed on with the campaign. Indeed, for many college students and post-college 20-somethings, the Obama crusade has reached a drop out of school or quit my job level excitement. An example of the powerful joining of youth and grassroots organizing is 20-year-old Tobin Van Ostern, who finished his sophomore year at George Washington University in the spring of 2008. This fall, Van Ostern is working in the Barack Obama campaign as a full-time organizer. Van Ostern started Students for Obama on his campus last year as a Facebook group. This online organizing tool has spread to chapters on 800 campuses. There's a young voter revolution underfoot, Alexander Aker, executive director of Young Democrats of America, told The Nation magazine. Young Democrats of America is one of the many partisan and non-partisan groups working to expand political involvement among the under 30 population. Perhaps most importantly, Obama's story is one that is profoundly rooted in his faith in Jesus Christ. As one supporter has noted, Barack Obama's narrative is one of reconciliation and hope. In his book, The Audacity of Hope, Obama writes about what happened to him after he submitted himself to God's will and dedicated himself to discovering God's truth. Obama described this discernment as an ongoing process for all of us and making sure that we are living out of our faith every day. Obama has consistently pointed to his faith as the primary motivator for his career of working for the common good. In July 2008 interview with Newsweek magazine, Obama spoke to this directly. I'm a big believer in not just words, but deeds and works. I don't believe that the kingdom of God is achievable on earth without God's intervention and without God's return through Jesus Christ. But I do believe in improvement. With a strong rooting in the African American church, Obama has been able to express his belief in a community drenched in religion. Throughout its story in America, the African American church has found God together as a people, a faith perspective that follows God in the community. This faith tradition has called followers of Jesus to foster a profound sense of community, rather than the individualism and materialism that sometimes marks much of the contemporary church culture. When asked about Barack Obama's faith, the man identified by many as President Bush pastor, Reverend Kirby John Caldwell, said this: "While the difference between President Bush and Senator Obama are very, very clear, allow me to share with you what their commonalities are. One, they have deep, resolute loyalty to their country and their families and to their God. They are both Christians. They both love their wives intensely. They're both very good dads, and they're also strong believers in rebuilding the family and rebuilding the infrastructure of our communities." Now, obviously, they have two entirely different approaches as to how they achieve that common good. Obama was asked by the online site BeliefNet if he had any particular routines or rituals before he takes to a podium for a political speech. His answer pointed out to the centrality of faith in his own life. "The prayer that I tell myself is a fairly simple one. I ask in the name of Jesus Christ that my sins are forgiven, that my family is protected, and I am an instrument of God's will. I'm constantly trying to align myself to what I think He calls on me to do. and sometimes you hear it strongly, and sometimes that voice is more muted. Steeped in a personal history perhaps unique to politics, but by no means uncommon in the eclectic communities stretched across the nation. Barack Obama's life is driven by a strong faith in the same fierce urgency of now that Martin Luther King Jr. spoke of 4 decades earlier. Today, he stands on the cusp of becoming the first African American president of the United States, eager to lead the country towards a better tomorrow, guided by a belief that change must start with ordinary citizens and not rich, removed politicians. He's urging all generations to hope courageously. And that's the introduction done.
Great job, Darnell. That was wonderful. You read that very well. Tell me what made you decide to select that book.
Mainly just the fact that especially during this entire tumultuous time in America right now, I just think about like what does being a leader mean? How does one exactly push himself in order to help others in the way that they can? So I just thought about reading the introduction, which kind of talks about how Obama started as a kid in Hawaii to becoming one of the most influential people in the world.
Okay. And what does a leader mean? What does being a leader mean to you personally?
I mean, someone that's able to accept responsibility for their actions and to figure out a way to solve the issues troubling others.
Okay. Okay. Well, look, I'm going to go over here and grab some of this love that you received from the villagers. We have Shania, who is again our 10-year-old reader. And she says, hello, Darnell.
Hello, Shania.
Portia says, outstanding, sir. I can tell you are extremely studious and most definitely a leader and chosen as a representative frequently. Glad to hear you a part of our village today.
Thank you.
And we have our Ayana who says, go Darnell. Yes, and then Miss Portia says, I love this. I most definitely will be purchasing. Very timely. Thank you for sharing with a bunch of hand claps. And then we have Mr. Bates. He says, a message that is needed in this season. Great job. And then we have Ayana again. Thanks for being so eager to read and always tuning into CCIA. We truly appreciate it. And then I think I got a little love right here. Eric says, go Star Armstrong. Thank you so much, Eric. We are waiting for you to come up here. And Miss Portia says, the urgency of now. And then Cleveland says, excellence is contagious. The same rests on you. And Ayana, you read so fluently. Thanks for the beautiful message. You got some more love here. I'm going to go through them all. Portia says, excellent reading. You sound like a pro. Very enlightening. I've always most admired his heart for the community and ability to connect with the common person. And Ayana says, you are amazing. You are so intelligent. Love when these young people are affirming one another. And Ray says, young leader, great job. And I'm loving how the village is affirming our youth. That is what this is all about. That is how it's supposed to be. So, Darnell, thank you again. And was there anything that you wanted to say to the virtual village family?
No, that's really all I have to say.
Okay. You said a lot. You said a lot. So we appreciate you. So now I must let you know that you are now officially a part of the literacy gang. Okay, we are a gang and we convene around a love of literacy, community, culture, and just love for one another. So you are in this gang. You cannot get out of this gang. You can't. That means a lot of love is going to come your way. You can't escape this love. And you are welcome to come back here and read again anytime. Okay.
This is an honor. This is an honor.
Oh, well, I definitely appreciate that. It was an honor to have you here, and we look forward to having you back, okay?
Okay.
All right. Well, you have a great evening.
Thank you. You too.
You're welcome. That was great. We definitely enjoy having Darnell here. We love it when our youth come to read. We love it when everybody comes to read here. Ayana says, yes, welcome. She's glad to have her buddy join our gang. Good to see you, Ayana. So glad that you are tuned in. And I don't mean to blow up your spot, but I need you to check your text message, okay? And then we have Shania says, welcome to the literacy gang, Darnell. And then Miss Portia says, welcome, welcome, welcome. Isn't that great? All this love. This is why our literacy gang, our virtual village family is everything. It is so important. You know, during these times, it's so important important all the time because of COVID, because of social, political times, all of these things. One of the most powerful and phenomenal things that we can do as Black people and as a Black community is to love and affirm one another, to love ourselves, to have a strong foundation in who we are, and to make sure that the way we treat one another is stellar. And so the way that you guys come on here and show love to each other as people come up here to read these culturally affirming books, from the adults to the youth to the youth, the youth to the adults, we have it all covered here. And I think when that love of our culture, that love of self and love of one another is intact, the moves that we have to make become easier for us to make them, and we have a better compass and guide as to where we need to go. Because we can't work together if we don't have that foundation of love and respect for one another. Then comes knowing our history. Then comes knowing, and I don't say knowing the history as a cliche thing to say, but I say understanding that history is weaponry. That history allows us to make the right choices that we need to make in this ongoing fight in which we are in. So Ayana says, thank you, Ayana, ask you for sending him our way. Yes, yes. And Cleveland says, everyone has value. Yes, we all do. We all do. All of you villagers, all of you readers, all you literacy gang members. You guys are in a gang. I bet you never thought you were going to be in a gang, but it's the literacy gang, the Clever Communities in Action literacy gang, you guys. And like I said, if you have ordered merchandise from us, we will be sending that out towards the end of the week. I appreciate your patience, but I cannot wait to see you all representing the Clever Communities in Action and literacy gang gear. Oh, that's going to be a lovely sight to see. And hopefully towards the end of the summertime, we can all convene together and rock our gear together and have a wonderful time and do some great things together. I'm thinking about, what about a virtual village cookout? What about that, huh? Sounds like something really nice to me. So hopefully, we're seeing how things move with our current reality right now, but I'm hoping that can be a reality for us towards the end of the summer. And, you guys, this was very important this evening because summer break has officially kicked off all across the country. I know some of you guys have been in it sooner than we have here in Virginia, but now BA youth are out, and I think everybody is out, and reading has to stay in the forefront. We cannot look, the summer slide is more important that we stay on top of this now than ever, because we know there were some gaps throughout the school year that were beyond our control. So families, parents, children, everybody, what are you reading this summer? We're going to put out a challenge, okay, about you guys reading, and we want you to share with us when you are reading with each other. Make sure that you take pictures and post them and tag hashtag CCIA, hashtag virtual village, hashtag literacy, summer literacy, and let us know what you guys are reading. We will also be posting our list of books. These are the books that when we do our Read to Lead program, where we've donated thousands of Black children's books to Title I elementary schools around Hampton Roads in Flint, Michigan, thousands of books, right? So we weren't able to do it this year because we did it towards the end of the year, and because of COVID, we weren't able to do it, but we've amassed a list of books. So we will post that, and you guys are able to go and check out that list and find some things up there and use that as a guide for you all to make purchases. We had some wonderful things from Miss Regina. She said that a lot of the books that down there, she and her family in Florida, they're doing their summer reading challenge, and they have set an amount of books that she will be reading with her children and the children in her family, all culturally affirming literature. And so we're excited to hear from them with some of the things that they're reading. And you guys make sure that you do the same. This is so important that we stay engaged right now. We must stay engaged. And then us coming up here as a virtual village family, I know that it has gotten lonely for some people. Sometimes we may feel isolated or disconnected, but we are very much connected here. So you get the literacy, but you get the culture, the sense of community and love as well. Finally, the last thing I want to say is, make sure that you are signing up to read, you guys. Make sure that you come and hit up that reading list. Okay, the sign up sheet. Make sure that you hit up that sign up sheet. It is always pinned at the top of the Clever Communities in Action Facebook page. If you are watching us from YouTube and you do not do Facebook, then you can send us a message. You can go to our website, clevercommunities.org, and send us a message and say, hey, how do I get that sign up sheet? and we'll make sure that you get that sheet. But go up there, sign up to read. It's a wonderful thing to do. And if you know anybody who you think would love to sign up and read with us, then just grab that link and send it to them. But let's fill up this week, you guys. And then I have an announcement for you all tomorrow. But let's go ahead and fill up this list. And again, thank you to everybody who tunes in, the Virtual Village family. We love you all. We love you to life. You all are wonderful. And we are going to do this 2020 summer together. Yes, we are. We ain't going nowhere, okay? We're going to be around for the summer. Let this be the pillar, the rock that you know that you can come to get that love, to get that literacy, to get that culture. And we appreciate it, you guys. Again, we are 15 weeks into this. 15 whole weeks. We have had over 100 stories read. I think over 100 people coming up here to read. That's a lot of literacy. That's a lot of stories going on during that time. We appreciate you guys giving us that energy to keep enduring. And everybody who is taking the time to come up here, you guys rock. And for all the people who have supported us by purchasing the merchandise, coming on to read, sending people to read, we appreciate it. We love you all. And with that said, I am going to go ahead and get on out of here, you guys. I'm a little hungry, so I got to go and grab myself something to eat. Been running all day. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. Make sure to share this. Make sure you click that share button so other people can know about us. And you all have a great evening. All right. Peace.
Look, mommy, community in action. But oh my, let us sound of that. Look, daddy, there's a book for me too. But oh my, let us sound of that. Creative, affirming, and culture for me too. Look, granny, let us sound of that. Look, granny, let us sound of that. Look, granny, let us sound of that. Learning, exploring my history, you see. Look, mommy, let us sound of that. We confident, we practice and develop fluency. Look, daddy, let us sound of that. Families, they bond and they representing me. Look, granny, let us sound of that. Look, auntie, let us sound of that. Nice, I see, let us sound of that.
So reliable, culturally relevant. Sit back and listen to the wisdom while we represent. So reliable, culturally relevant. Readers to leaders, they hold it down where they have to sit. So reliable, culturally relevant. Sit back and listen to the wisdom while you represent. So reliable, culturally relevant. Readers to leaders, they hold it down, yeah, they have to sit.
Look, mommy, community in action. Well, oh my, let us sound of that. Look, daddy, there's a book for me too. Well, oh my, let us sound of that.